Once again, it's that time in the Black and Crow where we go to warfare. This is NXT, WWE BattleGround, history to be made, conflicts to be resolved. Will we see a Rudy S moment or a WTF moment for the NXT Championship? That and so much more. And do you believe or whoop that trick? Welcome to the discussion. Hello, everybody. Damn it, his avatar. I knew he was going to do that. Damn it. Anyway, hello everybody, and welcome back here once again to Simply Predicting. You know what this is. I am, of course, the simple man of the simple brand, the voice of course, well, the main voice. I literally woke up 2 minutes ago. That's how pretty much I'm always into this thing, folks, of the Superman's brand. Of course, the Super Studios here. My name is Noah Foster. With me, as always, the illustrious panel, great friends, the Simply Predicting community. I have, of course, this is his NXT, damn it. He represents Chase U, despite the fact that different mindsets aside, I'm going to leave that alone for the night. Regular Wrestling JJ Williams, represented by Avatar Man. We got one of the biggest Emmanuel, and he's always happy to be here like Big G. He predicts everything like me. He's almost as crazy as me, not quite. Christopher Rotz. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in so much once again to Simply Predicting. Please shout out to Mark Riven and Jeff Chadwick. Please like, subscribe, comment, tell a friend if you want to dictate the conversation. PayPal the passions or super chat. It truly is as simple as that. Let's go ahead and get into the nice discussion. And again, for those that are participating in the NXT League, you can respect the form in the description, comments down below some point tomorrow. We got 6 matches on tap, so this should be a very fun discussion, and there might be somebody else, if we say their name or someone that's reliable, that might join us throughout the conversation. Stay tuned for more on that. Again, it's the first of 3 Simply Predictions this week. I'm bloody insane. Okay, and the fact that I woke up 2 minutes ago and literally put this stream together just like that, let's go ahead and give everybody's thoughts while I get a Mountain Dew and get ready to moderate this crazy shit once again. Chris, good to see you. Welcome back to Simply Predicting once more. How are you feeling about NXT BattleGround? Yes, folks, I know it's WWE BattleGround, but at the end of the day, it's NXT, damn it. I'm going to represent and recognize the WWE brand that I care about the most still, damn it. Anyway, Chris, how you feel about NXT BattleGround this weekend?
I'm feeling good. I'm going to be watching both NXT and AEW Double or Nothing simultaneously on Sunday night. So I'm going to be having the computer for NXT, and then on my big TV downstairs be AEW Double or Nothing. But I'm looking forward to NXT Battlegrounds. And I had to go all the way back to Simply Predicting last year. And I'm back here on NXT Battlegrounds a year in the making for Simply Predicting. It's going to be a good event. And always say yeah to NoDQ.com.
Yeah, shout out to this week's NoDQ moderator, Gino. Go follow him, folks. Subscribe. Appreciate you, brother. And go check out the NoDQ review that happened earlier today, where they talked about things, including their favorite match of the year so far in wrestling outside the big 3. Shout out to somebody that was able to show how wide their perspective is. And it's a beautiful thing. You don't look at just 3 companies. Just saying. Different conversation. But yeah, say yeah, NoDQ. Thank you for that, Chris. Manuel, it's good to see you once again. Of course, one of our best friends here, one of the VIPs of our studios. We always love the Dominguez. And shout out to Arlene. Yes, she still leads over you. Who, of course, participates in the NXT League. Last year's NXT League winner. Of course, she's saving lives. So currently, she is unavailable for the conversation. So there shouldn't be no butting heads. But Emmanuel, how are you feeling about NXT Battleground, my friend? Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Noah. It's been a while. It's going to be a good one. I mean, like NXT always delivers. Like even the WWE main roster has to steal their NXT formula, the 5 to 6 matches in a pay-per-view. What a concept! Short and sweet. That's good, and let's go. Like I mean, it's going to be interesting of what decisions WWE has in plan with TNA. And see what's going to happen in the end with Joe Hendry versus Trick Williams. That's going to be the the main one that we need to discuss.
Oh yeah, Definitely. It's definitely going to bring a lot of thought and conversation where history could be made, the cause and effect with NXT and TNA, how this affects things going forward, including but not limited to what I imagine has got to be coming up soon, Spring Break-In, Great American Bash, and most importantly, Slammiversary. But that's a whole different conversation, and that might be something we cook up in our main event discussion. Speaking of cooking, he's not the sweetest chef. Shout out to what he did moderating the last Kick-Ass Karaoke, giving love to the Muppets. Sorry I wasn't there again. Completely different mindset and also health wise. By the way, thankfully, for those that are wondering, the CT scan came back completely negative. I am fine. Thank you all so much for your support. But JJ, it's good to be back here with you once again. Been a moment, my friend. This is your brand. Become our brand. Once again, you already know how I am. This simple man way of life in wrestling when it comes to how I look at the three things of WWE, this being the most important to me. How you feel about the Black and Chrome? Once again, representing here this weekend with BattleGround.
I'm feeling good. I appreciate you being here. Honestly, I kind of appreciate you ducking out of the karaoke last week because it allowed me and James to just make all the money.
Good.
We didn't have to do wheel spins or nothing. Emmanuel sent his portion to James. Arlene sent her portion to me. Made everything nice and easy. The easiest money we've ever made.
Good. You both deserve it.
So, Definitely, especially as you see behind me getting my stuff together here.
I like it.
I do too. And of course, I had to have that as my icon, Noah. I mean,
dang, got it.
I even have the action figure set up, bruv.
Oh, you freaking Chase, you alumni for life. Damn, come you.
Yeah, right. We are back, baby. We may have a whole new student division. But God damn it, we are back.
Damn it.
Although, if you go back and you watch the highlights from this week, might be interested to see the crowd was firmly behind OTM and not Chase U in the match. Very interesting to see the crowd reaction to that. But NXT BattleGround, my NXT,
damn it.
Thoroughly saddened that I won't be here to watch it and do the watch along and everything, but duty calls at work. We've got a solid crew set up in my absence. Walter and DJ will be on the call for us.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a crazy Memorial Day weekend. 5 shows we're covering in 3 days.
We nuts. But I love it. I love what this has become, and I love what everyone else has become of what I basically have started to be on the screen as. All right, well, JJ, I always appreciate you, and it's good to have everybody here. I'm glad everybody's excited. I'm definitely looking forward to this, too. There's some intrigue here, especially with the NXT relationship really bringing history forward, where 1 year ago was the TNA Knockouts World Champion challenging for the NXT Women's Championship. Now we have the TNA World Champion defending his title in NXT against a former NXT champion. So there's some very unique what-ifs, cause and effects that could happen here. But I think without further ado, Simply Predicting community, friends, fans, and family, of course, of Sipaba Studios and beyond too. Let's get into it. So again, this is one of 3 shows. Not only I'm Simply Predicting this week with friends, of course, professional wrestling, damn it, but also that we are covering this weekend primarily. And this is indeed part of our Sunday night double feature, as we have the first ever Walter and Rock and Ropes of DJ, of course. Appreciate him.
Triple feature on Sunday because we're doing the Border Brawl show also. Featuring the stars of TNA from Niagara Falls.
Fair enough. I was
That'll be James and Jeff on that one.
Nice. And of course, it'll be me and our Canadian friend, Ash. Subscribe to Data Bag for Wrestling. Me and her will be covering AEW, Double or Nothing. So I hope everyone just has a great time and engage with all the wrestling and just enjoy it and enjoy life. But yes, tonight, let's stay focused because tonight's about one thing. That's NXT, damn it. It's NXT BattleGround. NXT BattleGround coming to us from the Tampa Bay, Florida area. And yes, it will be on the Peacock, but it'll also be for those that have VPN or are internationally situated outside the 48 continental United States. you, of course, will get it on Netflix. It'll be Sunday night, May 25th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I believe there will probably be a kickoff show, knowing them, probably at 7 p.m. Standard Time. So stay tuned for more on that. We got 6 matches on tap here. We have, I believe, 4 championship matches, a grudge 6-man tag, and a battle that might as well be a rip-off of The Sopranos. So let's go ahead and get right into it. We're going to start things off here with what usually sets the pace for NXT, which is the North American Championship. But this case, it's not absolute. It is going to be something that's going to be, I would say,
Something!
damn it. And also something I'm going to enjoy radical, because these two gave me a super match of the year last year. They're running it back. Let's go ahead and talk about Sol Ruka, our current NXT Women's North American Champion, defending the gold against a very familiar friend, foe, you tell me, Kalani Jordan. Kalani Jordan, of course, has been going after this ever since losing out of the ladder match. And, of course, facing her tag partner, Zarya, who says, you're the champ. You don't need to give it. And as Zarya got 1 win over Kalani Jordan, she got another chance this week and has earned her chance now to face her friend for the very title she won last year, inaugurally, at this very event. So the question stands, do we once again make history? Does Kalani Jordan become a two-time NXT Women's North American Champion, or does Sol Ruka get the better of her friend this go-around? I believe this will be their 3rd singles encounter overall since the two have been together in NXT. Both incredibly dynamic, athletic athletes with a tumbling and tumbling background. And again, this will be Sol Ruka's, I believe, first defense since he's won the title. For those that don't know, so the predicting goes like this. When it comes to the undercard, we, of course, get one person to set the ballot for what they believe is going to be the result. Then we go around and see who agrees or disagrees. But based on the size of this card and our intrigue on a lot of these matches, there might be further discussion. So let's go ahead and kick things off. I always go clockwise, and how interesting the fact that this is his brand. He's right next to me. We start with him. JJ, Kalani Jordan, Sol Ruka, NXT Women's North American Championship. We've followed these two since every inception of this NXT, including the one that almost made me go away from this brand forever and call it obsolete. That's in the past, though. What you got to say about this match, run back, this time with Kalani being the challenger? Do you see a new champion, or does Sol Ruka retain?
I think Sol Ruka retains because it's her first defense. It's too soon for her to lose it to Lani. But I don't think this is going to be the end of it. Kalani has definitely been teasing a darker side of herself here as of late. So I could see a disqualification here. I could see Sol stealing it and then Kalani snapping afterwards. Like, I think Kalani is going to give in to the darkness here, and we're going to see her turn heel and unleash a new side of her. She's been wearing her hair differently. There's just been these little intricacies about her that make me think we're going to see her go heel, kind of like when Mello made the heel turn on Trick. You know, granted, Mello had been heel before, but like you could kind of see these little things coming before the trigger was pulled. And we've been seeing that from Lani here the last month or so since prior to Stand and Deliver. And I think it's time we pay off those little things. So Sol retains, Lani goes heel.
All right, well, there you have it. So our first opening match here, we have a championship retention. And for those that don't know, in these prediction leagues in collaboration with ODQ, it's about who leaves with the gold. That's how you get the point too. And that being said, we have a retainment. Does anyone disagree? Going once, going twice. Yeah, I feel like this match, you can't, devalue Sol Ruka's win in the ladder match. And I think this will be one of those bigger feuds where they have more going for the NXT Women's Division than still Raw and SmackDown combined, dadgummit. But congratulations to the prodigy Roxanne Perez being officially signed to Monday Night Raw, and beautiful Madness Julia being officially signed to SmackDown. Something tells me that aren't the only NXT sign-ups going to happen this year for those two brands, if you know what I'm saying. Anyway, yeah, I believe Sol Ruka is going to retain to Kalani Jordan, of course, her trying to basically show that she doesn't miss. Maybe she doesn't flop when she flips. I think that's going to be the story here, and I think these two are going to carry this title for quite a duration in a conflict. So I definitely agree with you that Sol Ruka is going to retain, and the only way a championship proves their point is if literally they show their value in the caliber of challengers they overcome. The strongest challenger Suruka can face out of the going is her best friend. Who doesn't know her better than that? So, yeah. All right, Chris, I see your hand. I acknowledge you. What do you guys say regarding this? Then we'll go to Mavi. Has any further thoughts?
I know JJ said about Kehlani going heel. I don't think they're going to pull that trigger just yet. Because what I saw tonight at NXT with Soruka and Zarya, I feel that is going to possibly be the end game to where I think Zarya is going to get jealous of Soruka being champion, and then Zarya is going to be the one to turn on Soruka, and I feel the end game is down the road. Zarya is going to beat Soruka for the NXT Women's Champion down the road.
I mean, she has, she's part of the newer crop, and Kalani Jordan has been there for a while. You did call her, and him did go up there last year in the draft. So I can see what he means and how many times we've seen a tag team fall out.
I definitely think the end game is Sol versus Zarya, and I definitely think Zarya is going to eventually dethrone Sol for the title. That doesn't mean Kehlani can't go heel here as well.
Yeah, about to say, it's just a matter of which one they go with first. But I do think
I could see the two of them connecting. I could see Lani and Zarya end up connecting down the road off of the hatred for Kehlani or for Sol here.
Or also the, eyes on the prize. It's lonely at the top. At the end of the day, checks and championships is what rides you at the end of the day. And we see.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, and we've seen triple threats literally devolve with that in mind. Hello, Survivor Series 2009. Still one of my favorite triple threat matches of all time. You know, Chris. Yes, JJ.
Quick question, not regarding this match, but just a little speculation here.
Sure.
With SummerSlam being the first 2-night SummerSlam, and with Stand and Deliver traditionally being the Saturday of night one of Mania, do you think we'll get a NXT PLE ahead of night one of SummerSlam? And that could be where the culmination of all this comes?
Yeah, I would think so. It's just a matter of which one, and would they turn again, SummerSlam's in August, so Great American Bash doesn't make sense. That's a July
Heat Wave?
Yeah, I would think Heat Wave. I was thinking about that one because that's usually in late July, early August. And last year, I believe Heat Wave was right around the time of Money in the Bank, which was later in July. So, yeah. And again, you got to stat the deck that entire weekend if they're going to treat this as mini WrestleMania or try and surpass what they did at WrestleMania 41. I can see that. I think, Heatwave was my show of the year, I think I told you last year for NXT. It very well could be the same thing again. But I sense we got a triple threat with Kalani Jordan, Zarya, and Soruka coming down the line, and the title might not be the only thing on everybody's mind. Just saying. All right. Emmanuel, do you have anything further to say regarding this match?
I mean, logic, it doesn't make sense in NXT. Zarya defeated Kalani, yet Kalani gets the number one contender shot for this. It doesn't make sense. 50-50 booking. And that's the only gripe I have with this storyline right now. Just it doesn't make sense. In that theory, Zarya should be automatically a contender for the North American Championship. I digress. But it's gonna be this is gonna be an interesting match. High flyer versus high flyer. There's gonna be spots and everything like that.
A lot of flips.
Maybe, a lot of flips. Zarya might interfere and cost Kalani further pushing her to be heel. I mean, if Roxanne could be heel, Kalani Jordan's gonna be heel at some point in the stage of the game because they're not gonna put Kalani in the main roster being just a babyface all throughout her career. That's why they kind of need to do babyface that's heel, and they can do both. That way they know their strengths and what's their weaknesses. And right now it's good when those things we have to be patiently. Eventually they're going to go back babyface, but some are going to be babyface sooner than later.
100%. If you notice, A lot of the NXT talent that's been getting called up lately, they've made sure they've had a complete package to them. Braun Breaker could have easily gone up before he did, but all he had ever done is worked face. So they turned him heel, did the tag team thing with Corbin. He organically started to get back over. Then they drafted him because they knew he could do both. Mello had been heel for a while, so they turned him babyface.
Yep.
He had a good babyface run. And then just before he got drafted, he turned back heel because that's where he was best, and he got drafted. Roxanne, eternal babyface, thought she was going to be the Ricky Steamboat. Thing happened with Cora Jade. They turned her heel. She worked all this time as a heel. Then if you watched Raw last night, she's getting chants for her over freaking Becky Lynch in the match. You know, people are cheering for Roxanne like a babyface because they don't want to hate her anymore. You know, so I think a babyface turn for her is down the road. So Kehlani Jordan, kind of the same thing. She's done all this babyface work. Let's see how she runs at a heel. And then probably next year will be her term for the draft. Fallon Henley. How long was she a face? Turned heel, Fatal Influence. Wouldn't be surprised to see her get called up this year.
Yeah.
Manuel's got a great point there.
Yeah, well, we talked about before how, yeah, they got to evolve, but NXT is where you evolve to find out where you can actually thrive or dive on the main roster. And
speaking of evolve, shout out to Sean Legacy, who won an opportunity at Ricky Saints in the match tonight on NXT. Evolve talent gets a shot at the North American title.
Spoiler alert for the West Coast. I haven't seen it yet, but spoiler alert.
You know what? It is what it is. All right. I'm East. You're West. You're West. I mean,
I was watching a bootleg stream because I knew we were doing this, so I had to see what matches were getting announced, added. You know, it is what it is. Normally, I don't do the bootleg stream for NXT unless it's a watch along, but
right.
Had predictions, so had to be on top of things.
The friggin' seed, you know, someone has to be, and Lord knows I try to be on top of everything. But the way of the simple man is some stuff's highlighted, some stuff is live, some stuff is the next day.
Noah was napping
later. Yeah, I've been napping more than sleeping. I'm not sure if that's healthy or not, but hey, it works. And today, legitimately, between weather and headache and work, from hell, I needed to nap. I just napped a lot longer than expected. And damn right, nothing's ever easy. But hey, we still keep going. All right, speaking of which, let's keep going. But yeah, good stuff. So far, one match in, we all believe Silverberg's going to retain. But this for Kehlani Jordan is just beginning. And I'm very looking forward to this feud, especially with how chaotic it's going to get when you add weapons into play. Because I know NXT is going to do that with these two. And probably Zarya. All right. Well, speaking of conflict, speaking of things that might involve weapons, speaking of trying to prove a point, the Collins been trying to prove a point since Shawn Spears lost the NXT North American Championship to, of course, absolute Ricky Saints. For those that are watching NXT or unaware of his name in NXT, WWE name change, not completely bad. But let's go ahead and talk about this next match. And Christopher Rods, you're on point. We got 6-man tag team action. As, of course, Inamura Perez Noah is no longer with NXT. All right, got though. Josh Briggs still is. Josh Briggs teams with Hank and Tank, the NXT Tag Team Champions, taking on the Culling. Of course, Shawn Spears and his crew, and you got to watch out for Izzy Dane. And, of course, Izzy Dane was previously involved in the ladder match for the NXT Women's North American Championship. Not a bad showing. Came pretty close. The other two, of course, Brooks Jensen as tag partner, still very unproven. But with Shawn Spears, I'm sure he still wants to get back his NXT North American Championship. This very well could lead to his crew challenging Hank and Tank for the tag team titles if this goes their way. And you know Shawn Spears always has a plan and probably a steel chair soon to come into play. Shout out to the man, shout out to the Rage of Wrestling, Walter Cruz. Hi, guys. Hi, Walter. Hope you're doing well, brother. And again, folks, subscribe. That's for you. Your graphic is still ridiculous. Anyway, Chris, you're on point. What do you see coming out of this 6-man tag team match? Do we get future challengers for the NXT Tag Team Championships, or the Calling fall in the dark, knowing that Dark State already has a win over the tag team champions and the TNA champion, lest we forget. Go ahead.
Well, when this match was announced, like tonight, I was saying, okay, who deserves this win more? But what I saw at the end, who got the upper hands was Hank and Tank and Josh Briggs. So whoever
here
got
we go.
the upper hand, that technically means that they're going to be losing at the PLE. So I'm going to have to say this. If this going to cost me a point or gain me a point, I'm throwing this out there. I have the calling winning this 6-man tag match on Sunday, and I have either one of the calling members pinning either Hank or Tank this Sunday to elevate them, to challenge them for the NXT Tag Team Champions down the road. So I have the calling as of right now.
And of course, you all know your predictions are not final until the deadline, as I always put out. And of course, predictions will be finalized this Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because I got to prepare for the other madness I'm calling with Vash, and that's sure to be very unique. Looking forward to my Canadian friend. All right, so we have the ballot for this match being the calling. And again, you could almost call this show kind of a reset point for NXT, despite the fact they literally just stood and delivered, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, we got to figure out who's going to challenge for all these championships. And so far, since these championships have been given a new champions, or earned, at Stand Deliver, they really haven't had any challengers. So this kind of does set a pace. So that being said, he has the calling. Does anyone disagree? Going once. Going twice. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Chris. And again, without Sean Spears having any gold, the calling definitely needs to figure out some way to rebound here in this NXT landscape. You were talking about OTM earlier. Maybe they're trying to do an OTM babyface run, because we already know they all love Miss Paca, and that's a whole different conversation and conflict. Good grief, now I'm getting into it. This is dangerous. Then again, we're also in Florida, so maybe people are pissed off that Vice City got delayed till March last year.
Don't hate on Jada Parker, dude.
I'm not.
She is so good. As a matter of fact, throw Walter's graphic up there one more time so we can admire Miss Parker. Hi, Miss Parker.
You
pathetic,
weak-minded simpleton. Anyway, yeah, I think you're on point. Plus, also, Izzy Dame, Hank and Tank, they don't have a fourth in their corner to counter that. And we all know how well an outside interference can go sometimes, or an outside player, especially the female variety. Yeah,
the outside interference, I think, is the key. I'm almost wondering if this match is going to go to a no contest, because to Chris's point, Dark State has a victory over them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I don't know if Dark State is going to get upset because they're not on the card and they're not getting a title opportunity here.
Like, what's their MO? Like, do they care about getting gold, or do they care about causing anarchy in their own way? Like, what have they done since that 6-man tag?
By winning gold, don't you cause anarchy? Because you throw the entire division into an uproar.
I would think so, but this is NXT, and I'm not Shawn Michaels or Triple H.
I don't think Hank and Tank are going to be long-term champions. They've already proven to hold the titles longer than Chase U, which kind of pisses me off. But they're going to be short-term champions. They're going to lose those titles to Dark State. The question is when, not if. I figured they were going to get the shot here at BattleGround, but they went a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
Question is, what do they do next? And is that where they pull the trigger? But Hank and Tank aren't going to be long-term champions.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Again, they had their moment. That still Blaze shocks me. That arguably might have been the best WWE tag team match that I've seen in a long time, let alone this year. Thank you, Fraxon, for what you did. So it's just one of those things right now that where, again, they have no challengers. So how you build a challenger? You get a win on them. And if one team that wants to cause mischief versus another team that wants to bring forth pain for their family, sounds like a match in the dark waiting to happen for number one contendership. It'd be interesting to see Dark State, which is not heel or face, while the calling is clearly heels, all trying to prove their own point as it is. It'd be interesting to see how that would develop, and if they would show up here, to your point, destroying everybody. But either way, I still think that's going to go in the way of the calling, because Sean Spears right now, he needs to actually lead his family to some sort of glory to bring their truths to light. And that's the whole purpose of why the calling was brought together in the first place, lest we forget. Manuel, do you have anything further to say regarding the 6-man tag?
I mean, like the only thing I might see George Briggs turn heel, and turns on the Hank and Tank, and that's how you get that victory. Because he's lost, like he lost his best friend. He's now all alone again for the second time, losing his family. And now he was like it's just like one of those things. Like I think Sean Spears is gonna convince him to join the Colon, which is the dumbest name because I feel like who reads Twilight? I mean that what's that, like I heard the Colons. It reminds me of the Colon family, Edward Colon, and the vampires and stuff. And we don't want to talk about that.
Please no.
Shame on you, Emmanuel, for bringing that up. But that would be good because it's a good way that you could kind of organically bring Briggs and Jensen back together.
Yeah.
Case in point, former tag team champions, NXT and NXT UK.
You're NXT UK.
Black and red forever, damn it.
Plus,
It's like Chase U, black and red. It's all the more reason you should like them, Noah. They got your colors. You just said black and red. Did he not just say black and red for life, Chris? Did he not just say black and red for life, Emmanuel?
Yes.
Chase U, black and red, baby.
Don't use the brand that brought me back to NXT in a dark way, unless you want to bring out the darkness inside me, like the Collins trying to bring their darkness to light. That's all.
And if you'd like to hear Noah rant, super chat, simple as that.
Oh, here we go. My heart is fine. 0 negative right now, negative results, and all of a sudden, everyone wants me to get back on the freaking Joey Styles, Marvinello loudness bandwagon.
Hey, you know what? You missed karaoke. We got to get something out of you here some way.
Well, we'll see. I'm sure.
And Emmanuel is here. He's the type that'll put a super chat in just to make you rant.
I don't know if you want to hear a rant 11:05 p.m. on a Tuesday night. You might as well be listening to John Oliver Tonight on HBO Max. But anyway, moving on.
We're watching TNT with JD from NY.
Well, about to say, I mean, which one's more tolerable? You tell me.
But yeah, I mean, like Chris said, like we need challenger for the tag teams, and the victory in this match would certainly give him number one contendership on a random TV special that NXT always have these couple
spring break it.
Yeah, spring break, yeah. Like and you need to do that, and so this makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, I do think sometimes you don't use the word logic, but you do use the word sometimes that makes sense or certain structure in a way, and I do think WWE once in a while actually does that a little better. But in this case, so far, based on the results, again, this is NXT. Shawn Michaels and Triple H have surprised us before. We've all seen how far this brand can hurt us in predictions. All of us. So we'll see what happens. That
to the
being
point
said,
where I lost to Arlene last year.
you're the one that said it, not me. And you need to quit getting over. You need to quit saying that. You need to bring yourself up. This is your brand, damn it. You need to stand and deliver by the end, by deadline.
The problem I think is that I get so sucked into what I would do that I miss what's right in front of me.
That's fair.
I think that's what happens to me more often than not because I used to book for my old promotion.
Yep.
So I see what's in front of me and it's like, what would I do instead of what's right in front of me? Where are they going to go?
Yeah, exactly. You got to swerve literally on their way versus your own way. Go on, meets. Anyway, let's move on. Stop it. Okay, talking about a different type of match here. Not for a title, not necessarily for a title shot, but this is for a title of the Dawn of the Family. We're going to see what happens and who gets whacked without a kiss, maybe a glow bar. It is, of course, Channing Stacks Lorenzo taking on the Dawn of NXT. You know what I'm talking about. Tony D'Angelo, the former NXT North American champion. Now, I will say
former Heritage Cup champion, former tag champion. Put some stank on Tony D's name. The only title he hasn't held is the world title.
Well, he's challenging the Dragunov for that. But to your point, I think the North American one was the most valuable because let's not forget who he beat for that. Just saying. Anyway, it's his underboss taking on literally his former boss. Make it as personal as possible against the family. Add to what we saw what happened at Stand Deliver against Dark State, lest we forget. So, bottom line, what can we expect happening here? And is this truly one person that's going to sleep with the fishes? Emmanuel, you're on tap for this grudge match. Who takes the title of the Dawn of NXT? Tony D or Channing Stacks?
Me personally, I would like to see Stacks win it, but knowing NXT, they're gonna have Tony D'Angelo get over his underboss. Like it's one of those things like I want Stacks to be elevated after this, but I could just see this feud continuing. Tony D'Angelo winning and then from behind, Stacks attacks and furring the rivalry and everything like that, making it a hardcore match and etc. etc. And it's like the world's open. There's more story to it. So it's like one of those things. Like, where do you want to head? You want the underboss to go over, Tony, and that'll be the end of the story. Like, he already proved his point. He's better than the boss. So it'd be poetic if the boss teach the underboss a lesson or two, and he hasn't taught him everything. And so Tony D'Angelo for the win.
All right. So we got Tony D remaining the Dawn of NXT. And again, will this be the last time that we see Channing Stacks with him in the ring? Evidently. All right, he's got Tony D winning. Does anyone disagree? Going, what? Wow. Well, this should be interesting. You both went up at the same time, so we'll go ahead and just go literally kind of clockwise with this conversation. I'm very curious. The first time we're not in unanimous discussion. I'm going to say my thoughts for last, considering y'all know how I feel about this. At one point, I called him a promo ripoff. But Tony D's proved a lot to me. Can Channing Stacks do the same, or has he done it already? Go leave my thoughts suspension disbelief for now. Christopher Rotz, go ahead, say your piece. What you got to say regarding this match?
Well, I got Stacks winning because this is the thing. He just turned heel at Stand and Deliver. And what? If he loses, then what was the whole entire point of turning on the family? If he loses, then the whole entire heel turn was for nothing. But I'm going to say Stacks, he's going to put down Tony D'Angelo because the thing is this, Tony D'Angelo, he has done a lot in NXT and there's nothing left for him after this because, yeah, we're getting the the WWE draft coming up. I see Tony D'Angelo going to the main roster and having like a reset on what is going to happen when he goes to the main roster. So I have Channing Stacks Lorenzo putting down the Dawn of NXT.
All right, then. Interesting standpoint. It's one of those things you try to prove a point. Do you beat a man or do you break a man? And do you mess with his family in the process, as we've seen with the lawyer and, of course, his babe, Riesel? Of course, we saw him literally threaten her safety last week when, of course, JJ, he showed him that I knew where the safe house is. And we saw how that affected him in a match against Wes Lee. And, of course, we saw what happened tonight on NXT, furthering that tension. But to a point, I don't know if he's looking for a win. I think he's looking for a statement that I should be the one that leads the family. Do you get that by force, or do you just get that with a simple victory? I don't think this is going to be clean. What do you guys say regarding this match?
Chris said quite a bit of what I was going to say.
As we do sometimes.
And it's rare that him and I are on the same frequency, but to the point, if Stacks loses, what was the point of the heel turn? There's somebody that's in a safe house, and there's somebody who has been MIA since the NXT after Stand and Deliver. We last saw him in the desert.
Mm-hmm. We know what happens out there.
Oh, yeah. I've seen the movie Casino. There's a lot of problems buried in that Las Vegas desert.
That's not the only movie where that's demonstrated, by the way, and I understand that reference. Continue. I'm Italian, by the way, folks.
To your point about there being interfusion or chaos and, interference and everything,
Mm-hmm.
I think we see Luca Crucifino return and help Stax. Because Stax spared him in the desert. He gave him a choice. And rather than being a problem buried in the desert, he's going to turn. I do agree that Tony is probably going to get called up whenever the draft is. And the rumor that was circulating was that it was going to be the Raw after BattleGround. It was going to be while they're in Tampa, but they've made no public announcement of it.
Mm-hmm.
So unless they make the announcement on SmackDown this week, I don't think it's happening.
I agree.
This can't be a one-off. It has to be a best of series. But again, it's got to be tit for tat. It's got to be, I learned from the boss. I learned from the Don. And I'm pulling stuff from the Don that can ultimately culminate in the Don. I taught you everything you know, but not everything I know.
That's what I'm thinking here.
I think Tony will end up winning the war, but Stax is going to win the battle. Stax wins on Saturday.
Yeah, and again, we know that he has no problem using a crowbar against him, and it wouldn't surprise me if that comes into play, because that really has been the smoking gun in this rivalry.
And if we get Luca coming in to help Stax, the question becomes, what's the tat? Who comes to help Tony?
Rizzo?
Do we get, that's too obvious.
True.
Do you get a return of a Nunzio? Do you get a Big Vito?
Oh.
These are names from like FBI Italian mafia gimmicks past that could come into this angle to help the Don, the true OGs of the Don. You know what I mean? Shout out to Nick in the chat, one of our friends from the Spaces.
Appreciate you, brother.
So you've got to have that OG to come and align himself with the Don to counteract the Youngbloods, if you will. And that's where Stax and Luca is they're the Youngbloods. So who are the OGs that are going to align with the Don? And does Rizzo align with the Don when it's all said and done? Or does she feel animosity towards Tony because he hit her and Stax knew where she was? And so Tony actually put her in danger.
Talk about breaking the Don psyche. That's one way you.
I could see Rizzo aligning with Stax at the very end. Ooh. Oh my God, Rizzo's back. Rizzo's back. Clock.
Bam. Well, that's not the first time a woman betrayed the Don, lest we forget Izzy Dame, who literally betrayed the family from within. Poor Tony D. It's a cruel, cutthroat world in the mafia, even in NXT. Yes, Manuel, I see your hand. What you guys say regarding this? And just to put you on blast, you're the odd one out, because I also agree that the win's going to go to Stax. But go ahead.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Like I said, like for me on paper, it's Stax win this. Like, let's get that phrase. Like, but it's just one of those things. Like, I have a gut feeling that he has other plans. That type of deal. So like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, because I agree with you guys. Like, Stax on paper should win this. But like I have like a deep feeling that it might not turn that way, and my counter for you, JJ, is a winner, like loser leaves NXT stipulation, since they're like the mob, and that's how you get rid of Tony D'Angelo.
Right,
Like I said,
sunset. or
Yeah.
blow it up in a boat.
That's what they did with the D'Angelo family and the Legado.
Yeah, exactly. So, my thing is like, what if they kind of say that in the end, like Tony wins, and then we think Luca is gonna help out the Don, but secretly he attacks Tony lining up after the match. Like it could be that way too. Like
Slow burn.
the slow burn. Like it doesn't mean Tony's gonna win this. I have what I think is going to happen. But like hopefully you're right. Maybe it does. It gives Stacks the momentum. But look at how many people who had turned heel and did nothing. Rich Holland, anyway.
Don't get me started with that
We
fucking.
don't talk about.
We
don't
killed
talk about that
Chase U for a Ridge Holland heel turn, damn it, and Ridge Holland still couldn't do shit.
Tranquilo,
Exactly. So that's that's the only common point I have.
All right, fair enough. But yeah, either way, yeah, I think Stacks, if he's going to prove a point and finally get out of the Don shadow, even if it's by force, how the family should lead on his own regime versus what the Don's been doing as of late, where the Don's been up and down, to say the least, going against his plans, his mindset. And Stacks needs to win at least the first battle in what's going to be leading towards someone's vendetta. But yeah, I definitely think Stacks is going to get this. All right, now let's get into the big three, because in my opinion, these three matches definitely matter the most, and definitely are some of the biggest matches that matter the most to me this entire weekend. Once again, we're going clockwise, so guess what, JJ? It's back to you. Let's go ahead and talk about the women of NXT for the richest prize in NXT, shall we?
I love how you gave me the women for both matches.
And by the way, it just works that way sometimes, brother. I do it sometimes. It just works like that. I love it. And I love this match coming up. Good luck to both these incredible athletes. La Primera, champion of champions, Stephanie Valkyria defends the NXT Women's Championship against the Juggernaut, Jordynne Grace. Oh boy, we've been waiting for this one, folks. And again, last year, Jordynne Grace came into BattleGround as the TNA Knockouts World Champion, lest we forget. And, of course, she was able to retain that night despite some polluted air, but we're going to leave that alone. Of course, Jordynne Grace, she officially is now part of NXT. She is the history maker. She is the trailblazer. She is that juggernaut. She's been the unstoppable force of professional wrestling for a long time, but this is her first shot here one-on-one in NXT for NXT's richest prize. Stephanie Valkyria, of course, overcoming the likes of her and Julia and Miss Parker, along with others, and of course, culminating in champion versus champion at Roadblock, where she was formerly both NXT Women's and NXT Women's North American champion. So many would say she's done it all already in NXT, and we've seen her, of course, on Monday Night Raw. She has that reception, that connection with the fan base, despite Booker T's idiocracy and immaturity with one of those moves, where I mean, now is the only one that sold it as something that actually hurts. The bottom line, are we looking at La Primera's last stand in NXT and the rise of a juggernaut, or does she do it once again and keep Jordynne Grace underneath her in this incredible women's roster, to say the least? Do we get a title change here? It's going to be a battle, to say the least. So, JJ, it's on you. Do you have a brand new NXT Women's Champion? And is her name Jordynne Grace? Or is it somebody else yet to be seen, considering how deep this division is?
Short answer, yes. At the beginning of the year, I made a bold statement.
I remember that statement, too. That's why I'm glad he's going first. And I quote,
Julia, Roxanne, Stephanie, and Jordynne would all be called up to the main roster. That they weren't going to be in NXT for long. Where's Roxanne?
Officially on Raw.
Where's Julia?
Officially on SmackDown.
So that just leaves these two.
And they're going one-on-one.
In theory, based off of what I said, the rumor is the draft is Monday. In theory, based off the rumor.
Yes.
If that's going to happen, and Jordynne Grace just did an interview with Chris Van Vliet where she said that she wants to stay in NXT for a while, then that means Stephanie needs to lose the title. Because Stephanie has appeared on Raw. She just hasn't become official yet. The only main roster appearances Jordan has made is in the Rumble. That doesn't count.
No.
Once was as the TNA Knockouts champion. Once was her official debut for the company. Doesn't really count. So Stephanie would have to lose the title. She's already in the history books. The first ever double champion to defend one of the championships. Traditionally in WWE lore, double champions, when they go to defend, lose one of the titles. Stephanie is the first person, not woman, person,
Thank you.
to successfully defend a championship as double champion.
Both championships the same night, to your point.
Yes. So Stephanie has nothing more to prove here. And I see Jordan staying in NXT until draft season next year. Because she wants to be there. She wants to be that anchor for the women's division. And with Worlds Collide coming in just a couple of weeks, nothing being announced for the card yet, but a good chunk of the luchadors that you can figure are going to be booked for that show are on the main roster, not NXT.
Yep.
Stephanie Vaquer would be the only person booked from NXT more than likely. So you may as well move her to the main roster before then. Let her join the Lucha Brothers. Let her join the LWO. Let her join Los Garza. Let her join the Lucha legend El Grande Americano.
No, not gonna do it tonight. I'm not gonna do it tonight. Not gonna do it tonight.
Gracias.
Anyway.
Jordan Grace is your new NXT Women's Champion.
All right. So JJ sets it up for Jordan Grace being the champion. We'll go counterclockwise this time, and I will echo his sentiments and say I do agree that Jordan Grace is going to go back-to-back on BattleGround with victories, this time culminating gold versus defending for another company. It's one of those things that La Primera has been down in NXT now for nearly a year, folks. Lest you forget, last year she came into WWE NXT after losing her Individual Strong Women's Championship at the Forbidden Door, and has been a mainstay name on WWE's radar ever since, particularly NXT. Royal Rumble participant, as you pointed out, winning the NXT Women's Championship against Julia in tile for tile when she was the defending NXT Women's North American Champion, after being Fallon Henry, of course, at Vengeance Day. Then, of course, defending both those titles against Fallon and Jada on the same night, back-to-back. And, of course, overcoming multi-person fields. Jordan Grace, though, of course, so far has been unpainted, unsubmitted in NXT and won the right to challenge Stephanie Valkyrie in what was, honestly, Julia's last match in NXT, lest we forget. It was a number one contendership match where it gave me shades of Japanese strong spirit. That was some damn good stuff. With Julia now officially signed to the blue brand, but Stephanie Valkyrie showing up on the red brand, once again challenging Io Sky in a one-on-one match that was thrown to turmoil because of Roxanne and Julia's interference. It makes sense for me that I could see Io Sky, Stephanie Valkyrie, possibly at Worlds Collide or running that back. I think she's going to Monday Night Raw. But to get there, she doesn't need to be the face of this incredible women's division anymore. She's beaten most of them, and a new influx of them is going to be coming here shortly after they evolve, if not already, with Nilens Plus. But yeah, I think Jordan Grace becomes the new face and the juggernaut of this NXT Women's Division. And whether we get Jada Parker, whether we get Lola Vice, whether we get Thea Hill, Carmen Petrovic, whether we get Fatal Influence once again, because, again, Fatal Influence just butted heads with these two. Let's forget in tag team action. Whether or not they stay as a trio, though, that remains to be seen, because we've seen the tensions building there when it comes to business. WWE, don't fuck up another trio. Just saying. You got money with these three. Don't fuck it up. Either way, I think Jordan Grace becomes the new face of the women's division of NXT, and I think it happens this weekend. I got a new champion as well. Scully Vibes here. Thanks for tuning in. I like that name.
Another one of our people from the Spaces. Shout out to Scully.
I like it. I like it. It's good to see other faces, and it's good to see people, letting them know what we do here and what City Predicting has become. Again, I forgot the spaces eventually with you all, but welcome to the space that I moderate, which sometimes is nice and civil, and other times it's utter madness that I endure. And so far, it's been very civil and proper non-Tony Khan crazy time. That being said,
That'll be Saturday.
Oh, God.
Saturday.
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 Damn it, me. God, help me. Anyway, Jordan Grace, new
And by
champion.
the way, I do believe Hannibal will be joining us for that. I talked to him today in the spaces.
Oh, I welcome that. I mean, again, it was Hannibal, it was DJ, it was Ash, it was you crazy folks. I love that panel. I love when these panels are not the same because it adds a different dynamic. And sometimes people, they come in on a WWE interruption type thing for a certain match or a certain spot. Not that I'm putting any names out there, but hey, I welcome it. This is the type of stuff that I moderate and literally collaborate with, and I love it. Anyway, that's 2 for a new champion. Will it be 3? Let's go down to Emmanuel and see what he has to say regarding this. Emmanuel, what do you guys say regarding the NXT Women's Championship? Do you have Jordan Grace winning, or do you have Stephanie Valkyrie somehow retaining?
For you people, that was your makeup for Noah's Saturday's karaoke night. If you missed it,
Damn
he
it.
sang for free without getting paid. Thank you.
Right? Right? You didn't even have to super chat for that one, Emmanuel.
Yeah, you caught me off guard and non-copyright, but anyway, continue. Damn you.
Yeah, I mean, you guys put the nail in the coffin. I mean, like, this is Jordan Grace's, moment to get the title. I mean, Stephanie has proven everything she has to do in the NXT. She's ready. I mean, like, I don't know what else you could do with her in the NXT roster. Like, I mean, like I don't like. Unfortunately, right now, like the NXT woman right now is kind of it's stacked, but like at the same time, they need to start to build contenders for these the upper tier ladies for Jordan Grace. I mean, and Stephanie Baker, like that's why they're kind of sort of struggling with these 3, the Julia, Stephanie, and Jordan, because like those were the 3 that were focusing on the most, and now if once Stephanie gets called, maybe finally we could have some stability and more fresh new faces trying to face the NXT Women Champion. My only concern for Jordan Grace is that I'm not sure if it's me, like maybe it's just me, but I don't think personally Jordan Grace has gone over yet as a wrestler in NXT yet. Maybe NXT kind of more in favor of a Stephanie and more of a Julia, that Jordan Grace seems more beneath them. But who knows? Like, I don't know. Like, maybe it's just me. Like I said.
But she's still, very young to NXT. Let's forget, she's truly been involved with NXT since the Royal Rumble, to JJ's point. But I do think a match that really helped Jordan Grace connect with the NXT universe was that match with Julia. It was definitely one of the biggest 50-on-50 reactions I've heard from the NXT fleet when it comes to women in that ring. So I think the jury is still out, but beating Stephanie Valkyrie and showed respect afterwards, I think will definitely prove, Jordan Grace, you belong here in NXT, and we accept you.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully that will pull her over in the long run and make her a bigger star than she is right now. Because right now, like, I don't see it, but maybe with this victory this Saturday, it's going to elevate her and make her more of a big deal. Because right now, like, as of this right now, like, I'm just not feeling that. Like, it's just one of those things. Like, I hope with this victory it does. So that's all I have to say.
Yeah, fair enough. So he is going with Stephanie, but he's going with Grace as well. But again, I'm tired, folks. But still, he wants to see if she truly connects to a level like Stephanie, and he doesn't believe that she's done that yet. But I think we all believe that she can do that, and beating Stephanie for the various Women's Championship is a great way to do that, not in a W2K25 My GM mode video game. And by the way, Emmanuel, it's Sunday that this is on, not Saturday. Botch. Anyway, 3 for 3. All right, is it going to be unanimous? Christopher Rotz, what do you guys say regarding the NXT Women's Championship? Do you have Jordan Grace or Stephanie Valkyrie? Bring it home.
Well, I'm gonna disagree with you guys.
God damn you! He always has to do that. Go ahead.
The reason I got Stephanie Valkyrie retaining is because I just feel like what I saw at the WrestleMania countdown show when they announced AAA with WWE with Wars Collide, Stephanie Valkyrie was on the stand when they were announcing it, and that kind of gave me the impression, would it make sense to have Stephanie Valkyrie be the champion going into Wars Collide and defend the NXT Women's Championship against any AAA competitors or main roster talent? I don't know what they're going to do, since that show is literally the same day as Money in the Bank in 2 weeks. So that kind of put me in the saying, have Stephanie retain, and she could go and defend that championship at Wars Collide. So Sunday, I got La Primera retaining on Sunday.
All right. Well, for once, Chris actually does seem legit in his point, and he's using business and logic. I can't believe I just said that. Good job, bro. He's got a point, though, JJ. I didn't even figure about that. I can't believe how fast this is going. Literally, Worlds Collide Money in the Bank is 2 weeks from this weekend. The hell? And in the past Worlds Collide, it was literally NXT brands fighting. Now, when we look at the logo, we think, okay, Worlds Collide, AAA, WWE. Now, in my opinion, when I think of AAA, I think about their longer partnership with TNA. I would think that TNA would have done this first, no different conversation. But yeah, Worlds Collide, is it going to be main roster focused, or is it actually going to be NXT focused? Because if it is NXT focused, despite what we saw on the countdown with that display, then I would think that Stephanie Valkyrie, being formerly a CMLL Women's Tag Team Champion, defending the NXT Championship at AAA or against AAA Town would be huge for this new, not interpromotional thing, but acquisition for WWE. Lest we forget, WWE now owns AAA. All right, it's not like a multi-year deal thing. They own them, lock and key, stock and barrel. They don't own TNA yet, but that very well might be coming down the pipeline. But that's a good thought, Chris. I didn't figure about that. Manuel, I do see you have your hand up real quick. Go ahead and share your thoughts beyond that. And JJ, unless you have anything further, I think we'll move on. But he's got a unique point.
I do have something to add, but Emmanuel can go first.
Go ahead,
yeah. Long shot, counterpoint, Chris. She loses, but in the triple threat Money in the Bank match, there's a mystery woman entering. Who can it be? Stephanie Valkyrie. And then that's how you promote Money in the Bank for the Latinos, going Stephanie Valkyrie entrando en la Money in the Bank. Yeah. Lucha para competir para una oportunidad para el campeonato, and that's how you do that. Like, the Latino market is gonna say, maybe I should see this Money in the Bank match, because remember, most of the Mexican don't like I said before, AAA and CMLL, they think that that's the real wrestling. WWE is the fake wrestling. It's not real wrestling towards them, but that's what the Mexicans believe. So what a way to promote. Hey, if you think she's a real wrestler, you gotta believe that WWE is in the same league and it's considered real wrestling that most of the Latinos don't believe down there. So I'm telling you that as a right now. Like, I know it's baloney because it's it's all scripted. We all know wrestling is scripted, but that's what.
Don't say that.
But I know, but we all know that, as a long-term fans. But it's
Fair enough.
one of those mentalities that they believe that that's real wrestling and that nothing really else matters, not in AEW.
Well, that's one company, but basically, when it comes to WWE, already many smaller promotions are like, this place is a monopoly. It's going to consume us. Again, jury's still out on that. But also, JJ, just to give you some food for thought, I was actually reading more about the Worlds Collide. It does say it's going to involve AAA talent and talent from the NXT brand promotion. And despite the fact that it has that big, stupid, solid WWE logo, it does look like it's going to be NXT centric on the WWE side of things. So again, jury's still out, but go ahead and give your thoughts.
One last point.
And-
That's again. I'm sorry to interrupt, JJ. One last point. Remember what JJ said, that if there's going to be a draft coming up soon. She's still under consideration under NXT name until she's get drafted to Raw or SmackDown. You have to remember that, Noah.
Fair enough. Signing the dotted line, as we saw both women sign literally on Friday and Monday night. I'll give you that. JJ, what you guys say in closing regarding all this and food for thought? Could we see the NXT Women's Championship being defended against the AAA talent at Worlds Collide?
See, I think closing it off to just NXT championships and NXT talent is the wrong way to go.
I agree.
Because the majority of your luchas are on the main roster. So you're telling me you're going to do Worlds Collide, you're going to go into this show with AAA and you're not going to have the Lucha Brothers on the show because they're not NXT talent?
Basically.
You're telling me that you're not going to have the LWO on the show because they're not NXT talent?
We've seen those guys down in
It doesn't
NXT,
make
though.
sense. Yeah, but they're not NXT talent. They're main roster talent. Just because they've crossed the line, so to speak, and come down for a match here and a match there. Shit, A-Town Down Under was just down there not that long ago. Are they NXT talent? No, they're main roster talent. They just came down.
Yeah, and they got their ass kicked by Sheamus.
So they're not gonna have this opportunity presented to them and cut off the majority of their Latino talent from working this event. That makes no sense. Did Ray Fenix qualify for Money in the Bank?
I don't know.
No. Why? Because AAA is the same fucking day and they're going to probably use him and Penta down there?
I think that would make
Come
sense.
on, let's think about this. Like, realistically, I'm tired of the whole, oh, well, it says NXT, and I'm not nitpicking you, but other people say it too. Well, NXT says it on the thing, AAA, so it's going to be NXT talent. Da, da, da. We've been saying that for how long about the NXT thing? Did we not just fucking see Joe Hendry take on Randy Orton at WrestleMania?
Yes, we did.
Okay, was that an NXT talent that he fought?
No.
No, that was main roster. Now, I'm not saying that we're not going to get any NXT talent, but I think it's a little bit interesting that Fraxium just got called up. They would have been perfect fits for that show, but now they're main roster, so they're not going to work the show? All your lucha talent is on the main roster.
Yeah.
About the only people you've got in NXT that would be a good fit over there are Stephanie, Soul, Javon, and Wesley.
Yeah.
I might be missing a name here or there, but that's not enough to fucking fill out a card.
Yeah.
And who's to say that Stephanie can't lose the title and then defeat the Reinas de Reina champion for their title, since WWE now owns AAA?
Yeah, I mean, again, Diana Peraza, the virtuosa. She was AAA Reina de Reina's champion and the Ring of Honor.
Whatever happened to her? She signed up to AEW and then she got lost in some vortex. I hear she just hangs out in catering now, doing her online college courses and graduating from that. She's never on television.
You know what? Hey, if she's going to hit
some other CEOs freaking took over the TV time from her.
All I'm going to say is don't undermine the virtuoso when it comes to doing multiple disciplines besides kicking people's faces in the ring and taking arms. She also went back home a little bit and has worked in Ring of Honor. She's not wrestling. She's studying. The virtuoso is still owning herself in life. So Diana Peraza, keep doing what you're doing. But yeah, it's one of those things, quality booking, blah, 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 WWE, AEW, TNA, insert name here. Problem with the industry. Some people bigger defectors than others. We're not going to go into that conversation.
Okay. I even have a proposal for a huge match at the AAA show, and it might sound like a fucking joke to people, but it's going to spawn out a Saturday night's main event.
Oh God.
What do we have at Saturday night's main event? What's the big marquee match? No, I'm not talking about Jey Uso. John Cena versus R-Truth. Now I have a question for you, Noah, because I'm gonna just feed you here and see if you smell what the Renegade's cooking here.
Go for it.
So you got R-Truth. Who's a writer for SmackDown that's connected to R-Truth?
Road Dogg?
And now WWE owns AAA. Who's the main booker in AAA?
Conan?
And do the three of them make up a unit?
Oh, fuck me. Yes.
All of them are working with the same company, dude. AAA Worlds Collide, 3LK versus Cena and two partners.
I swear if that happens. I swear if that happens, I'm going to literally just chastise.
Just so I can hear that theme song one more time. Beware. Coming for you. It's the remix. 3 Live Crew. Still getting rowdy.
They're not copyright, but it's better than Def Rebel. But okay, that being said, getting back to this, the idea of Worlds Collide only being NXT does seem short-sighted. I do think it's going to be more than that, especially with the fact that both, damn it, WWE and NXT are going to be in the same damn city, damn block area for the two damn shows.
Same parking lot.
You know more about that than I do. But
and
anyway.
I'm telling you, we've got to have the Lucha Legend El Grande Americano on there.
Anyway, so it's 3-1 in favor of Jordan Grace becoming the new IC Women's Champion, while Christopher Ross believes Lady Valkyria Primera should present and represent NXT still as the Women's Champion a little longer, including possibly at Worlds Collide. Good conversation. Okay, so.
Gracias. And if you'd like to hear Noah rant about El Grande Americano's Super Chat.
Stop trying.
$10 minimum.
I'm the normal blood pressure of this freaking community and family. Ah! Okay, I gotta get.
You need to listen to El Grande Americano's theme music on WWE Music on YouTube.
Noah, to rant, for you to rant, do I have to send the money to you or to JJ?
It's got to be a super chat. I'll tell you what. $5 to Noah, $5 to me.
Fuck you, JJ. Fuck you.
I got to get to the payout window at some point, bro. So I'm willing to cut you some of it.
Oh my God, you.
Because he didn't sing on Saturday, so $5 to him, $5 to me.
I hate this so much. All right. Moving on, before my blood pressure hits an all-time high, let's go ahead and talk about the NXT Championship and what, Emmanuel?
Just to add to Tilla, Grand Americano has no power over what WWE has in authority. If they send him to Mexico, that's WWE's prerogative. That's not a Grand Americano's fault.
Exactly.
Moving on, Christopher Rods, you're on point. Let's talk about the NXT Championship as the unstoppable ruler of Femi's defense against, of all people. This was not on my bucket list, radar, or even an NXT World Championship picture contention. Miles Bourne of No Quarter Catch Crew. As Miles Bourne shocked the world, beating All Ego Ethan Page and Shawn Spears in the final of an over-the-top rope battle royal and defending his number one contendership against All Ego Ethan Page. Miles Bourne with a huge chance to do the unthinkable. Can he become the new NXT champion after Oba Femi already made it personal, obliterating Charlie Dempsey with a fall from grace? Christopher Ross, do you believe there's going to be a new NXT champion? Fuck me.
No, I'm keeping it short and sweet. Oba Femi retains, and I'm going to give credit to Miles Bourne. I feel bad that he has like a disability and something. You gotta just feel bad for the guy. And personally, I feel he's gonna be breaking out of North Quarter Cast Crew down the road. and Miles Bourne, he's a young Randy Orton, and hopefully someday Miles Bourne, we could see him using the RKO someday. But I'm keeping it short and sweet. Obafemi retains, and that's that.
Okay, simple as that. That being said, Christopher Ross has said that he believes that the ruler of NXT will retain. Okay, going again. Counterclockwise. Going to JJ next. JJ Olafemi, he's been your guy since the Breakout 20 last year. He's been the NXT champion since New Year's Evil this year. And he's literally destroyed everybody underneath NXT and TNA. Let's forget that incredible match against Moose. That's still one of my favorite matches of the year from NXT and WWE overall. It feels like nobody. You want to talk about people that could literally lead a division, and we need new challengers. I don't think there's anybody right now, even in NXT or TNA, that could match up to Obafemi and be believable one-on-one to take the championship from him, or should. So I think it's going to be really obvious from all of us here, but do you have anything further to say regarding Miles Bourne WTF moment that very well could happen in an alternate universe?
I mean, I'm not going against Oba. None of us
No.
are going against Oba, I don't think.
No.
But all it takes is 3 seconds.
True that.
And you could have a huge upset. Nobody thought the Kid was going to defeat Razor Ramon until he pinned him and became the 1-2-3 Kid.
Hello.
You know, so anything can happen on any given Sunday, as they like to say when it comes to the NFL. I did like, and I know you watch highlights, but I also know you were napping, so I don't know if you've seen the highlights yet from tonight.
Not tonight.
I encourage you to go back and watch the face-off between Miles Bourne and Obafemi. Because it was really good. Oba seemed very confident, as the ruler should, but he also presented himself like he wasn't going to take Miles lightly, because he realizes what's burning inside of Miles, and the fact that he's not just doing this for himself, but for everybody else out there who's got a disability, to prove that they can do it, because he is deaf.
Wow.
In case you didn't know, Miles Bourne is a deaf wrestler.
I don't know.
So he is out there to prove to the world that anybody can do this.
Respect.
And what a story that would make if Bourne could pull off that upset. You know, now you're talking about like a Rudy moment. I don't think we're going to get it, but Miles Bourne made a great comment in his promo. Even rulers fall. And it made you start to think a second, like, could this actually happen? Could it actually happen? Now, I think there's been enough dissension in the NQCC where I see Charlie Dempsey costing Miles because he's jealous.
Does he use a pair of brass knuckles, though, is the other question. Because to your point, Charlie Dempsey probably thought that he and Miles Bourne were going to work together to get Charles that title shot. I remember the Battle Royal. I saw the tension.
But I highly recommend you go back and you watch that promo, because it was very emotional and very powerful. You see Emmanuel nodding. He's nodding with every word that I say because he's right there with me. Like, it was some solid television. And pay attention to Miles's voice when he speaks. It's another giveaway for his disability, because, not trying to sound funny, but you know, deaf people have a certain way they sound when they talk.
Yes.
You can definitely hear it come out of him when he cuts a promo.
Respect. All right.
Big ups to Miles Bourne.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely should garner just a personal respect, even if you don't even know who this guy is the fact that he's doing this.
Yeah, he said in a promo a week or so ago that he heard the crowd when he won the Battle Royal because they were so fucking loud. Like he could feel the vibrations and hear the noise. That it was that loud when he won.
I mean, it was a ridiculous pop. I'm not going to lie. I watched that and I'm still like,
because he's baby Randy Orton, and everybody fucking loves Randy Orton right now. So the fact that he looks like Orton, he does that scoop power slam that Orton does. Like, there's so many things about him that are Orton-esque. It's very easy to get behind him. And then you add the disability too, and how do you not support him?
Yeah, about to say. But Miles Bourne, good luck. If nothing else, it's the first opportunity for the NXT Championship. It's not the show, but he damn sure is going to stand and deliver in this battle, to say the least. And damn it, Attila. Well, I mean, hey, there's a square wrestler on Best Super Juniors where he might as well be endorsed by Huey Lewis in the news. Shout out to Mal. Anyway.
Is he hip to be square?
He literally is that, and you would have to watch it to believe it. He is so damn square, it's ridiculous. Shout out to DDT Pro. Anyway, Emmanuel, your thoughts regarding Miles Bourne's opportunity for this match. It's one of those things where even Obafemi respects the gumption of this man to prove a point on behalf of anybody that might consider this situation. I think it puts a lot of pressure on the challenger, but it also puts that pressure on the champion to not only not take him lightly, but also make sure that he doesn't, take him softly. It's one of those things where you might think he's in control, but again, it's the battle of inches, and I think there might be a sense of respect and even, dare I say, sympathy from Obafemi ahead of this. And I wonder if that could come into play at all during this match, especially on crowd reception. We know how the crowd can dictate the way a wrestler goes about the match. It also might dictate their behavior. And Obafemi, he or face, you tell me he is the ruler, and I do think the results going to be in the same, but there are going to be those moments of tension, I think, that could catch the champion off guard. So what do you think about this match and Miles Bourne's chance?
I mean, like when he won the Battle Royal, I was like, wow, man.
I didn't pick him to win, that's for damn sure.
Yeah, exactly. No one picked him to win.
I don't think a single person picked him to win.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what was so great about it.
Yeah,
I agree.
That's what I was about to say. That was what's so great about it.
I picked Sean Spears personally because he lost the North American Championship, and I didn't think they were going to run trick and him back.
Yeah. So for the longest time, like I've been saying this for WWE, I miss the anything can happen in the WWE, and NXT did that in the Battle Royal. Anything could happen, and Miles Bourne was it.
Yeah.
And when he won, okay, NXT has a couple of weeks to elevate him, and they did a great job because Ethan Page got beat those 3 seconds, and like JJ mentioned, it only takes 3 seconds to beat Obafemi. It has happened before. It was not to say he could do it again. For Mouse to overcome the ruler, because ruler do fall, and everything like that. Does he have a chance? Maybe, but like JJ pointed out, I feel like Charlie Dempsey's gonna either interfere and cost him the match, or at one point, he's about to win it, and that's when he turns, and that's another way,
They could also tease that tension, shades of what they did with Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes as he was facing the Dragunov. Let's not forget, it was Vengeance Day where Carmelo Hayes finally pulled the trigger and stabbed his boy in the back. But again, we're also dealing with the son of Lord William Regal, and he probably has the power of the punch, and we just don't know it.
Yeah, exactly. There's only one worry I have, and that's because of the IWC community that revealed that Stephanie and Miles were dating, apparently, because they have a picture of those two together with Miles' family. Well, this mean nothing. It could mean nothing. It could be just two friends,
The
having a cookout or
This is the problem where the internet's become TMZ and everybody's the paparazzi and believes they have to use that towards the jurisdiction on anybody in professional wrestling, especially. Ridiculous. Continue.
yeah.
Now.
So yeah,
I'm not
for
trying
me,
to turn this to an IWC rant. Hell no.
yeah,
You've already got one thing you got to rant about.
yeah.
Check your PayPal, by the way.
Yeah, I already sent the big bell. Anyways, like,
Damn it!
but anyways, like, but that's my worry. Like, my worry is that like, if the IWC thinks that he's getting this opportunity because he's dating Stephanie, you're dead wrong. He deserves to be in this spot. He deserves. Like with that speech, it convinced me. Like if hopefully like he gets a mic, somebody, a manager, like a Paul Heyman, somebody to talk for him. I get what JJ's saying, like, because like I also like it's a curse. Like if once you're deaf, then you can still talk, like you could still communicate and everything like that. But it's one of those things like you lose your bubble speech and mobility, like, so he might struggle with that, but it's so easy answer for him. Like it's just like get somebody to talk for him, and that's all you need to do. Like, and if he goes babyface at one point in the main roster, that's all you have to do as well. Like let him talk, let him talk as he is. Like make that passionate speech that anything could happen. Like even if he with a disability could make it, anybody could make it as a wrestler. And then so that's what I liked about this storyline. Like even though Ova is gonna most likely defeat him in the end, he's gonna get the respect in the end of the match.
Yeah,
hopefully
like
with the
like
crowd
handshake and the crowd giving a proper reception. And I think that you respect this effort and you wait to pull the trigger or fist on the turn where once again looks like they're going to break up a faction. Go figure. But that's a whole different conversation for another day. All right. Well, we had a lot of fun, a lot of talk, a lot of unique circumstances. Now let's go ahead and get into some history to be made. Because do you believe? Are we about to whoop that trick? And pretty soon someone will be teleporting from the morphing grid sooner rather than later. Probably I'm done speaking. Let's go ahead and talk about what should be, most likely will be, and definitely deserves to be the main event for not an NXT championship, but you're hearing me right, folks. For the TNA World Championship for the first time ever in NXT history. It is 250 pounds of pure motivation. It is the most viral sensation this year. It is the guy on everybody's mind when you say his name. And his name is Joe Hendry.
He appears. I believe in Joe Hendry.
And he defends the TNA World Championship against Trick Williams. Oh man, how things have changed since last year's No Mercy. From a believer to a disbeliever, to somebody who had 15 minutes of fame looking to take Joe Hendry's glory. After Joe Hendry was at WrestleMania and he was in the stands, after Trick Williams was an afterthought and said he was embarrassed. So much we can say about this. So let's go ahead and let's talk about it. All right, guys, here we go. So as we know, Joe Hendry, of course, won the TNA World Championship against Nick Nemeth back at Genesis and has held the title ever since, including against, your boy Frank Kazarian, of course, in that triple threat match back at Rebellion. Again, to Jeff, Still a great match, though, and also outlasting Eagle Ethan Page. We also, of course, saw him stand and deliver at WrestleMania against the Viper, Randy Orton, in front of 60,000 people. At the end of the day, if you don't believe yet, get the heck out of this business because you're foolish. Of course, Trick Williams, though, he was the guy that we literally led into NXT off the whoop that trick era. And, of course, he's been out of that era since losing the NXT championship. Might I add, was pinned in that match, too, at New Year's Eve to the ruler of NXT, Albert Femi. He's already had another chance against it, but not in one-on-one action, as we saw in that incredible triple threat, another one of my favorite matches of the year, against Javon Evans as well, losing out at Stand and Deliver, where Javon was the one that made a ridiculous fall from grace, bouncing like he never bounced before. So now we have this unique match after Joe Hendry and Femi went face-to-face, champion and champion, not versus so far, yet. Just saying. And Trick Williams felt embarrassed. So what did he do? He crossed the line and assaulted the most motivational man in the business on his own home turf, and now looks to take his gold. Now, again, I did not watch this week's highlights, but I damn sure watched the highlights in the entire segment of this face-to-face contract signing promo. And Joe Henry said very poignantly, the pressure is more on you and not on me, because if you lose this, that's it for you. That being said, let's go ahead, get y'all's thoughts on this history for the first time ever as the TNA World Championship is defended in NXT. And I think it's only fitting because we have Nola back together after who knows how long. It's wrestling time. Hello, Datilla. Welcome back to City Predicting. It's good to have you part of this unique history. Of course, you and I, we are TNA. But this NXT TNA relationship has just given us the mecca of anything we can hope to expect. Trick Williams, Joe Henry for the TNA World Championship. Good to see you. Why don't you go ahead and start up the discussion here? What do you see happening? Do you have Joe Henry retaining?
Yet we're TNA, yet you don't walk this way.
Non-copyright. I walk with Elijah. I also used to walk with Elias. I saw Elias perform and freaking burn the Cleveland Browns. Anyway, that was back in 2019.
I walk with Ezekiel.
He did freaking. That does not exist. It's
you know what would have been really
China.
cool? You know what would have been really cool if they were able to pull off the 3 faces of Elias for the NXT Battle Royal. That would have been really cool.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. When Elijah showed up at the Battle Royal, I was kind of hoping to see Elias show up.
If it had been a Royal Rumble instead of Battle Royal, I think they could have done it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Anyway, Tatilla, go ahead, give your thoughts towards this unique, one-of-a-kind main event. What you got to say regarding the TNA World Championship? Joe Henry, Trick Williams.
So everybody knows that I believe in 252 pounds of pure motivation, the answer to all our life's problems. You know, I think that you and I think you and I were some of the first people to believe in Joe Henry.
Damn right.
From the circle. And as much as I believe in Joe Henry, I have to go with Trick Williams on this one. I think we're gonna see the 2021 storyline all over again with Joe Henry playing the role of Rich Swann, Trick Williams playing the role of Omega Christian Cage, and Mike Santana playing the role of Josh Alexander. Joe Henry is really over with the crowd, and if Mike Santana is going to challenge and possibly win the TNA World title in his home state of New York, you don't want to put Joe Henry against Mike Santana and risk the crowd turning on Mike Santana, you know, especially with how over Joe Henry is. You need a heel, and you have the way TNA has right now. It has 2 options: either turn Joe Henry heel or they take the belt off of him. And I could see them putting the belt on Trick Williams. I mean, they're at the USB Arena. You need a marquee match.
Yeah.
And that's what a bigger marquee match. NXT's Trick Williams versus TNA's Mike Santana. And Mike Santana playing the role of Josh Alexander will defeat Trick Williams and bring the TNA title back to TNA, assuming Trick Williams stays in NXT or if he goes to TNA. But I've said this before and I'll say it again. You cannot have Joe Henry, babyface Joe Henry against babyface Mike Santana. You want the crowd fully behind Mike Santana. And what better way to have the crowd fully behind Mike Santana than putting the belt on Trick Williams?
Yeah, well said. Unless she booked her way to Slammiversary at this point, makes me wonder what she thinks may happen on the way to Bound for Glory. Of course, Slammiversary is also before SummerSlam, and we all know how much Joe Hendry, the WWE, believes in him, particularly Shawn Michaels and Triple H. So, again, when you lose the TNA World Championship, that might literally be Joe Hendry's swan song with TNA because he got the top prize, he had the run, he had the most global viral moment. So, very well put, Tatilla. All right, let's go around the horn and give everyone else's thoughts. We're just going to go around the horn here clockwise. So, JJ, you're next. So, JJ, again, it's your brand, your boy Trick Williams. We'll see where he stands. I think Joe Henry put him on blast because Joe Henry basically said for you, this is it. You think you're bigger than WWE, you're bigger than TNA, you're bigger than NXT. How big are you? Are you bigger than The Miz if you lose here, quite honestly? And again, this is not A-list, he's B-list, folks. But hey, he's still one of the longest running WWE superstars in history, so I'll give respect is. But at the end of the day, if Trick Williams doesn't win this, he might as well be relegated to catering because there's nothing else he has going for him on this self-boastful, ego-filled heel turn if he doesn't beat Joe Hendry for the TNA World Championship. And to this point, yeah, we saw that history where Kenny Omega became the belt collector. He ruled AEW and TNA. Can Trick Williams do the same where once he ruled NXT, can he rule TNA? Especially with that crook stone on the freaking premise trying to take over Santino Morella's job. That damn sure better not happen, or I'm going to rant about that till the cows come home. Anyway, JJ, it's on you. What do you got to say regarding this? Do you agree with Attila?
See, Chris brought up the point earlier about the go home and who's on top wins. Right? Because he brought that up when we were talking about the Hank and Tank match.
Yep.
Here's the problem with this, though, and trying to use that theory. Because Joe Hendry ended on top tonight. But we still have Impact this week, where Trick Williams is going to be on commentary during a Joe Hendry match.
Oh, geez.
We still have Under Siege on Friday, where Trick Williams teams with Frankie Kazarian to take on Joe Hendry and Elijah.
Yes.
And then we've got this match at BattleGround.
A lot of cause and effect here in play. And for those that are wondering, the TNA show is taped, but we are hashtag spoiler free. Under Siege is not. It's live. Continue.
And to Datilla's point, while I could see Trick Williams winning the title, I don't know if you do it now. Because let's not forget, Against All Odds is in 2 weeks.
Everything's in 2 weeks.
It's on Friday, June 6th, the night before Money in the Bank and the AAA show.
Oh, good grief.
So if this is going to be an NXT thing, who's to say that Trick can't win the title at Against All Odds in Arizona, California's neighboring state,
California,
and then come to California, defend the title on the AAA show, and then go back to Arizona for the tapings.
We've seen people go coast to coast before, just saying.
And this isn't coast to coast, this is crossing state lines. Like, I don't know exactly the flight time to Arizona, but if a flight from California to Vegas is only an hour, you can't imagine that it's much more than a 2-hour flight at tops.
Yeah, because it's a little further than Nevada. There's your U.S. geography lesson tonight, folks. Please continue.
So while I could see Trick becoming champion, there's something that I see happening at Under Siege, which we'll get to when we do those predictions on Thursday. Make sure you tune into Simply Predicting Thursday night. Same bat time, same bat channels.
Hope to see you there, Datilla.
So a flight to Arizona is actually an hour and like 20-something minutes. If you're going to Phoenix, an hour 30 if you're going to Tucson.
Oh,
so there you go.
Yeah, but a little longer.
So, and depending on what Trick's placement on the card would be, because it's the TNA title, not the AAA championship, you would think it would be a little bit lower on the card. You know, because it's not for their main title.
That's fair.
So gives him plenty of time to get back to Arizona before those tapings, because those would probably be 5 o'clock-ish West Coast time to get all the tapings done. I just see something that's going to happen during Under Siege's fallout being what ends up costing this match. But I think that as a result, Hendry's going to retain.
Oh, wow.
I'm going against Trick Willie.
I like it. I like how polarizing this is. I knew this match was going to be polarizing. It's freaking Joe Hendry and Trick Williams for the TNA Championship and NXT show. It doesn't get more heads or tails than that.
But I do like her logic about if Mike Santana is going to win the title at Slammiversary, it does need to move to a heel.
Yes. I also agree about that too, especially with...
But let's not forget that we still have the King of TNA, who did not lose a one-on-one encounter. He was forced into a triple threat.
Yes.
And he is a heel. Could end up taking the title off of Joe Hendry prior to Slammiversary as well.
I almost wonder, this is just me thinking out loud, I almost wonder if they're not going to do one-on-one, but they might do something similar to last year. 6-pack eliminator. Because look at what your names you just mentioned. Heel, Kazarian. Heel, Trick Williams. Babyface, Joe Hendry. Babyface, Mike Santana. Mike Santana was supposed to be involved in last year's match, let's forget. And it was the system that stopped him. Moose right now isn't worried about the TNA World Championship. We also saw Obafemi be confronted by Joe Hendry. Don't make the same mistake Moose made. Imagine Obafemi being part of that six-way dance where he could be both NXT or TNA World Champion. There could be literally an NXT NA interpromotional match for the TNA World Championship at Slammiversary.
Heel Nick Nemeth.
That
Babyface for now, Elijah.
Who says he's a friend, by the way, and I still fought when Elijah crossed the line. He was going to confront Joe Hendry for that great song, Hendry Took His Job, and literally challenge him for the title. He's been nothing but a friend, but to your point, they are together at Under Siege.
He's definitely turning on him.
Yeah, look, if the heels are going to get
since you're going to go ahead and throw my freaking scenario out there, I think Elijah getting involved in this is how Hendry keeps it, because the match will get thrown out.
Yeah, and then he gets a guitar over the head, and that's how you set up the next match at Against All Odds, to your point, which is the next TNA special 2 weeks from now. So it's just right now where I believe Joe Hendry's going to retain too. I just think there is too much momentum on Joe Hendry's side in the wrestling business, representing TNA and XTNA with the TNA championship still on his shoulder. And lest we forget, his shoulder is still not 100%. And I think people do want to see eventually Kazarian and Joe Hendry collide one-on-one, and maybe that leads into that debacle of that multi-person match that I'm thinking of. History's already being made with this match in play. It doesn't mean the title has to change hands. We've already talked about Trick Williams when it comes to his in-ring work. Yeah, he's got a pretty darn good promo. He's got a great character. But sometimes when it comes to representing in the highest spots as champion, not the best. And we've talked about it before. And the jury's still out on that. Now he's working as a heel character. We'll see how far that goes. Doesn't mean he needs a title to do that. And plus, if he loses here, imagine what else he's going to do across TNA and NXT to prove a point on how big Trick really is without a championship. I think Joe Hendry's going to retain too. So right now, Dattila, you're the odd one out. Let's see what the rest have to say. I love the fact this is polarizing, though. This is great. Chris, go ahead and lend your thoughts towards this real quick, because I know you want to bid Kenny Omega Fashion Ad do, because, again, God bless you. I know you got priorities too. What you got to say regarding this? Do you have a new champion, or does Joe Hendry retain? Do you believe?
Well, Dattila, hi. I catch you on the front row of TNA Rebellion. So
we saw both of them.
I was so happy to see you in the front row. Congratulations on going to TNA Rebellion.
You didn't see me yawning or eating a churro, did you?
No, I did not. No, I did not.
I saw you yawning during Joe Hendry's part. You were bored. No, I'm kidding.
How dare you? Blasphemy!
I wasn't bored.
No, what's blasphemy is you denying the fact that El Grande Americano is a lucha legend and completely separate from Chad Gable.
I'm gonna rant. I'm not gonna rant right now. I'm fine. To Chris, continue your point. You're not gonna get me started while we're talking about Joe Hendry. Continue, Chris.
Well, I'm gonna have to say this, Dattila. You took the words right out of my mouth, because I saw a highlight on TNA. It had both Trick Williams and Mike Santana cross paths with one another. So, and I kind of said, oh my gosh, they are actually teasing we're going to get this match down the road. And I think down the road will be Slammiversary, and is going to be for the TNA World Championship, because I have history being made this Sunday night when Trick Williams finally becomes, and he will be the first NXT superstar to win another brand's champion, and we'll finally get history made. Trick Williams becomes the TNA World Champion. And then he'll do some of the TNA tapings leading into Slammiversary. We're going to have Mike Santana. By the way, I know he's competing in a match this Friday at Under Siege. Mike Santana is going to definitely win on Friday. So,
yeah, look at him calling the jury out there.
and Mike Santana, he is going to face Trick Williams at Slammiversary for the TNA World Champion New York. And that is when Mike Santana will finally bring home the TNA World Championship back to TNA Solar. And then, and then with Trick, maybe he goes and takes on Obafemi for that NXT championship down the road. We're just going to have to find out and see.
Fair enough.
So I have Trick Williams making history, and I have to bid you fine adieu. So you guys could put up my new graphic for.
This won't be the last time you see him on screen, folks. And I'm not talking about just
predicting.
I don't see anything.
Seriously.
Very funny to tell.
Why did you just throw up a black screen? Like,
good point. Let me put this up.
So where you guys can find me at is on my Insta, CMROTZ_1316. My Facebook is Christopher Rots. My X is CRots24. Thank you all you guys for allowing me to be on tonight. And with my new graphic, he is the last real champion. Thank him so much for having me on.
Appreciate you, Chris. Take it easy, and we'll see you next time on Simply Predicting.
Next time you make a graphic we can actually see.
Yeah, because I couldn't see anything.
Blame the young man, all right? He wanted to remain invisible man, despite the fact he was on screen. We've had him from Avatar Man to Invisible Man to the Ranting Man. Still to come. All right, well, that being said, it's 2 for Trick and 2 for Joe Hendry. This should be interesting. Emmanuel, you're the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
So, do you believe or do we whoop that Trick? What do you guys say regarding this?
Okay, by now the West Coast feed should be over for the
It is
NXT. NXT. So
no, the West Coast feed still has 40 minutes.
Oh, wait, that's right. 1 hour. Botch. Continue.
Because it's a 2-hour broadcast, not a 1 hour.
Spoiler alert, folks. Heads up. 3, 2, 1. You've been warned. Go ahead, Emmanuel.
Yeah, that in the end, Joe Hendry busted the guitar on Trick Williams' knee. Like, that's gonna be the focal point of the match. Is Trick Williams' knee? Trick knee is gonna be 100%. The trick shot be like 100% when he delivers it on this Saturday. That's the biggest question. Like, is he going to be 100% after the this coming Saturday? My biggest question is this: is WWE going to buy TNA?
That's
and
fair.
I've been thinking about it so hard.
Thinking.
Yeah, and I think Trick Williams is going to be your new TNA champion. Unfortunately.
And he says unfortunate.
Yeah, because Joe Hendry, I believe in Joe Hendry. Don't get me wrong. But it's just one.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe.
Enough of that, Hendry. Not right. Play it to main signs. Go ahead.
Not copyright, so be cool, Joe Hendry, if you're hearing this by any chance.
I think Joe Hendry's probably the coolest man on the internet. Just saying.
If he was the coolest man on the internet, then he would appear on our show because we've said his name how many times and he hasn't appeared?
Eventually it works, but also he's a busy man. I mean, there's people saying his name all over the world. For all we know, he wants to be. People want to see him in London, Paris, Tokyo, Scotland, Canada.
Mexico.
Yes, thank you. They say. Anyway, continue. Not copyright, not singing. Anyway, continue.
It makes sense because you have a Worlds Collide. Like, how feeling if we have a TNA title being defended in Worlds Collide? Have an NXT title being defended in Worlds Collide? What about
All the titles, the real
all
night
the
champions,
titles.
not in Saudi Arabia.
And that's the Worlds Collide we'd be begging for years and years.
True that.
But but there's also that possibility. What if Joe Henry does win and they extend the feud, and that's where Worlds Collide again, part 2, Trick Williams versus Joe Henry part 2, and that's when Trick Williams wins the title there.
Then you figure
That's
like
the
maybe Joe Henry wins the title back possibly before Slammiversary.
Exactly. There's a slight possibility for that. So it's one of those things like this pay-per-view is gonna tell you a lot. If Trick Williams wins this title, WWE's gonna buy TNA by the end of the year, merging the companies. That's why Indy Hartwell got the TNA contract. That way, so happy for her too. That way, if you're an ex-WWE person who got released, like Dakota Kai, Cora Jade, etc., you could develop your character and still be under the WWE brand, and it'd be like, hey, you're doing better. Well, now let's call you up back to WWE. We did previous mistake. You prove yourself that you're more than you are, and let's go from there. And that's the reality we're facing now in the WWE right now. Give more eyes to TNA. Let's face facts. Like, who's the biggest star, Trick Williams or Joe Henry? I think Trick Williams just edges out Joe Henry by a little.
Only because it's WWE versus TNA. I will give you that.
Has Trick Williams had a song in the top 10 on the music charts?
Yeah, about to say, has he top 10 in the UK? Has he literally been everywhere possible? I mean, I think the jury's out, though, because here's the thing.
Has Trick Williams had 60,000 people pop for him at WrestleMania?
About to say, he didn't even have 15,000 people fully, I think, at Stand Delivered whoop that trick. I'm just saying. I think the jury's out when you try and do apples to oranges now when it comes to companies. WWE is not the end-all, be-all. You're the biggest star of them all of the business. It's been proven throughout. I'm just saying. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But still, I get what he means,
Yeah, I get his point to a certain dynamic. And shout out to Indy Hartwell, the brand new House of Glory Women's Champion.
Yep.
Defeating Miyu Yamashita.
Thank you, YouTube, for that full match, by the way. That was so good. That pink kick, though. Good Lord. She could take anyone's head off with that. Speaking of shout out to Natalya, by the way. Great match against Kenzie Page, who is still NWA Women's World Champion.
Boo.
How dare you? Continue.
Boo. Hey, look, I like Kenzie, but there was a small part of me that actually thought they were going to give Natty the title. That way, when they do Evolution 2, the Burke could be defended on it.
Well, I see what you mean.
And have Natty lose it back to Kenzie, or whoever's going to be the next champion.
And as far as I'm concerned, no one's taking the Burke off Kenzie Page. That's going to stay pretty empowered for the longest time, probably longer than how Camille the whole day, because Kenzie right now is owning NWA, as she should, damn it, unless La Princesa tries to go after that. Congrats to the new NWA Women's World Television Champion, by the way, and La Princesa Tiffany Nueves. Anyway, continue. Yes, I know you're happy about that.
But yeah, but like I said, it's not like the E is the end all, because there's a lot of people who never went to the E and you know their names really well, like Kenny Omega, like Will Ospreay, like
Christopher Daniels,
Christian Ben. You can go on and be a bigger star than the E. That's but for some odd reason, superstars who are wrestlers want to go to the E. I don't know why, but they do.
It's a challenge. It's a paycheck. It's a different opportunity. You make what you can of yourself in this business. It doesn't matter what letters you're under. It matters that you succeed in the fans that truly support you. They care about wherever you go and whatever you do, to say the least, in or out of the ring. Hello, Deanna.
Regardless of how you look at it, WWE is still the industry leader, and it is looked at as the mecca. You have made it in professional wrestling if you make it to WWE.
Even if it feels more
While
like
we all know that's not true, there's still a lot of people that hold it in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like you've never made it if you don't perform at the Garden. You know, have you really made it if you haven't performed in those hallowed halls?
Right.
You know,
Yeah, you know, it's a hindsight.
you
Anyway.
can perform in bigger arenas that hold more people than the Garden, but the Garden is just one of those places. Like it's a holy ground, so to speak.
So is the Tokyo Dome. So is Corrigan Hall.
Exactly,
So is Center
exactly.
Stage Atlanta.
But you know, some people look at WWE as like that's the end goal of I don't make it in professional wrestling if I never get to WWE.
Yeah. Well, again, people, some hindsight shorter than others, and I'm not
You know,
putting any names out there.
there's still a lot of people that don't, you know, that never get there. And that's fine because you can't say they're not successful. Emmanuel just listed off a bunch of them.
Yep.
But that's still the general consensus amongst the majority of fans.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, fair point, Emmanuel. So the bottom line for those that were keeping score, it is 3 in favor of Trick Williams and 2 in favor of Joe Hendry. So that being said, history to be made this Sunday, not Saturday, but this is certainly going to be something unique.
Something.
Unique, to say the least. Let's go ahead and get everyone's plugs here before we
No, you got a rant that you have to deliver, good sir.
Okay, fine. You know what? You all had to do this after my freaking calcium score went 0. You all have to freaking make my blood pressure go higher than normal. Because everybody that has half a brain worse than Sid Vicious have to believe that Chad Gable is not El Grande Americano. Unless we forget El Grande Americano got involved in more luchador business this Monday. Screwing Penta, now screwing Ray. The thing that needs to happen, Ray and Penta need to freaking take the mask off Chad Gable to prove my point. You see the similar style, you see the similar demeanor, similar body weight. What more do I need to prove? This is almost as bad as saying Def Rebel's not bad. 12% is not a passing score. You're a flunky in school for that matter. I could make a better song on most people nowadays in WWE if I knew how to use a fucking synthesizer like Mega McDuffie. And the fact that everybody on the God's green earth that has half a brain doesn't know anything outside WWE, TNA, AEW, have a closed mind professional wrestling. You're all short-sighted idiots, not looking at the rest of the business, knowing the whole world has more to offer professional wrestling combined than all 3 of these companies at their best. Okay, I'm better.
If Noah had a microphone, he would have dropped it.
Right?
Anyway,
I hope you got your money's worth there, Emmanuel.
Freaking $5. Freaking hell. God bless it. Yeah, it wasn't even John Oliver tonight. Freaking threw the little screens in the freaking corner. Anyway, that's the Simple Man tonight, and this has been Super Predicting for NXT BattleGround. So what you all guys say regarding predictions? What y'all guys say regarding history? Do you believe in Trick Williams, or do you believe in Joe Hendry? Let us know in the comments down below. Please follow my friends. Before we bid y'all find out, let's go ahead and do some plugs before we finally get to bed, especially here on the East Coast. Attila, I'm so darn glad to finally talk to you again here outside the shenanigans of Super Predicting. I hope it's not the last time. Please go ahead and tell where the fine people can find you, and you and I gotta collab some point again, my friend.
Oh, definitely, Noah. Hopefully I get to join another Simply Predicting. I wanted to join last time, but schedule-wise didn't work out.
Priorities over passions, my friend. I get it.
I know.
We will be doing Under Siege on Thursday.
If I can join, I can join. But if not,
we'll just push the Body Slam review till later. Do ours first.
Well, she's got business with that too, and that is also priority because that's also business. I get it, but also just keep us informed on your schedule because when it comes to TNA, I'm definitely gonna try and fit around you. We're continue.
Okay, you can catch me at Rangers of Wrestling. I tried, I know I haven't been as consistent as I used to be, but I'm gonna try to get back on schedule. And you can follow me on Twitter at @Ethel_. I talk Raw, SmackDown, occasionally AEW Dynamite, and of course TNA. And for all things TNA, you can catch me every Thursday on Body Slam. You can also catch me here on Saturday Shenanigans sometimes when if I don't pop in last minute.
We'll say goodbye. Fair enough, but you know what? Stick to your shtick. I think that's a brilliant gimmick. Well, I appreciate it, Attila, and we always appreciate and believe in the work that you do. So if you have to power down before we do our typical goodbyes, that's fine, my friend.
Well, she has her own Raw review that she's got to do in 30 minutes. As I just got a notification that Rangers of Wrestling will be going live in 30 minutes. So, you know.
Subscribe, folks, and stay tuned.
Didn't do it last night, so.
All right, well, get to work and then get to sleep. So go ahead and power down, and we'll see you next time I do.
All right, bye, guys.
Much love to you. Bye, Attila. And then there were 3. All right, that being said, Emmanuel, you didn't have to argue with Arlene tonight. I'm sure you can argue with probably a couple of your picks. And again, you all can stay tuned for the forum. Like I said, when I get home from work, some point tomorrow, because I'll build it at work during my downtime. But go ahead and tell where people can find you outside Chase U. That's another thing I can rant about, but I'm not going to because that's just a whole never-ending story.
I mean, like you read under my name, Chase U, the new class. Zach Morris is trash. If you want to see Saved by the Bell, see it at NBC. Not copyright, not
copyright indeed.
not
promoted. Lord. All the references.
But if you want to follow me, Emmanuel Dominguez at Facebook, EDM7324 at Instagram.com, and EDM7324 on the X.
Give it to you.
Yeah, and if you have better things better intakes than that, please donate and say, I want to be in this predictions. Just tell Noah.
Get the Renegade's approval, and then, hey, he'll pass it towards me, and I welcome anybody with an open mind, positive meter, or someone that wants to test my mentality here on Simply Predicting, in and out of the spaces, too.
Yeah, because like the more the merrier. Because like I want to hear some other people's thoughts too. Like
that's what this is all about. I'm
exactly.
very curious to see what the AEW and TNA panels are going to look like. So let's stay tuned for more on that, folks. So thank you, Emmanuel. JJ, Chase U classroom background graphic with Arlene Emmanuel's plugs. Get to work on that. That being said, again, it's your brand. You may not be here, but you're going to be here in spirit. And who knows? Maybe we'll even do a simple take, or you can do some with the till when it comes to review. I know we haven't done that for a while either. But again, things seem to be more back to know about my life. So I'm sure I'll be back to even more crazier madness across YouTube and more stuff like this as well. But go ahead and tell where the people can find you while you got Elena Black now on your graphic. Also, you're still crazy.
Yes. You can find me on Instagram, The Renegade JJ Williams, YouTube, Casa D18 Studios, X ROWJJ Williams, and Casa D18 Studio. No S at the end of the X. That's where you can find me hosting my spaces. Just got so much stuff coming up, man. I mean, you've kind of laid it out. We've got 5 watch-alongs in 3 days coming up this weekend. Got 2 more Simply Predictings. I will need you to send me the link for Thursday because I'll probably be getting off in the middle of Simply Predicting and have to join you in the middle of it.
All right.
But, you know, as we always say, priorities over passions, but I've been getting cut around 8 o'clock my time, which is 11 your time. So about a half hour in.
Fair enough.
But yeah, then we just need to start getting you integrated in some of these independent shows we've been doing, because there's some shows that James and I have been doing and we're like, what the hell do you even call that? And it's like, this is the time where I wish Noah was here, because even if he just knew the scientific name, not whatever specialty name the wrestler gives it, he'd be able to get that over for us. And me and James are just like, what the hell was that even? Like, Jesus Christ. Like, so yeah, hopefully we can get Noah participating. House of Glory, GCW. We definitely want you there for GCW on June 8th, because James and I are going to be doing a double feature, because June 7th, professional wrestling is out to kill us.
Yes. Damn it.
It's the When Worlds Collide. It's Money in the Bank. It's House of Glory's Puerto Rican weekend. And it's the Tournament of Survival for GCW. And then June 8th is the Cage of Survival.
Yep.
So James and I are going to be doing Tournament Survival and Cage of Survival the same day. Doing the one that aired Saturday, then giving ourselves like an hour break before doing the one that goes live Sunday. Just so we can try to get everything in. But yeah, like just so much stuff going on. Like tune in, subscribe to Batty for Wrestling. Don't be a dickhead. Subscribe to Batty for Wrestling. There we go. X Shadow Batash. Support our Canadian friend who will be joining Noah for Double or Nothing this Sunday.
This is going to be fun.
The one I'm really looking forward to seeing is the Battleground one with Walter and DJ. Because Walter has to try to be play-by-play for DJ and his antics.
Yeah.
That's going to be entertaining.
Too. That's gonna be interesting. And shout out to DJ and y'all Spaces, of course, as you all continue your Spaces fun galore.
Yes. So yeah, just follow us. We truly are about all the wrestling.
Yeah, gonna have to update that trailer too with all the wrestling. As summer again is gonna try and kill us because so much to come, and who knows, we might even bring back New Japan. I mean, their biggest show of the summer is coming up, of course, Dominion. So we'll have more on that. The G1 Climax, of course, they're gonna get their lineup announced here pretty soon. So I'm gonna definitely do coverage on that, and I gotta get Ash definitely involved in that. So please stay tuned. And as he says, subscribe to all the friends. Our Canadian friend, of course, the Rage of Wrestling. Damn it, Walter. The Renegade of Wrestling, JJ Williams. Papa Dino, of course, the moderator of the NXT Review, making his commentary debut, allegedly.
No. He won't be making commentary debut. He's actually going to be at Saturday night's main event live. So he's going to pop in pre-show and post-show to kind of give the live atmosphere vibe to the thing. So shout out to Papa Gino.
Yep. And again, he's been doing great work with the NXT Review. Please follow him, follow us on social medias and on YouTube. Appreciate you, man. I'll see you on the review again some point here soon. Like I said, things are finally stable at my heart. Now all I got to do is get my schedule in order where I don't nap as much, especially after medicine that almost knocked me out tonight. Jeez.
Your heart is stable, but is your mentality, because we drive you knucking futs.
Somehow I'm still here, so I'm guessing it's stable enough. And again, shout out to Natilla, who is also here to appreciate her always. And again, shout out to all of you that tune in as we do engage and cover all the wrestling. And I truly do love this, and I love encouraging this conversation and enduring this madness to it. Again, for those that want to know more about me, I am truly just a simple man and a lifelong fan of professional wrestling. Damn it! So again, as we talk about here all the time, I always like to remind you and encourage you on the winners, no losers, no betters. Just fans with opinions for this passion we all share. At the end of the day, folks, support one another, respect each other, protect your mentality too, treasure your families no matter how much they annoy you. And just your life into professional wrestling, it's truly as simple as that. JD talked about the watch-alongs, but yeah, sleep predicting is a trifecta this week of madness for me. I survived NXT while I survived AW TNA. Stay tuned. We have Silly predicting for TNA Under Siege after TNA Impact this Thursday night, 10:30 p.m. Standard Time live. And of course, this Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it'll be AEW Double or Nothing, simply predicting. And of course, there are forums for all those that are part of the NXT, TNA, and the AEW leagues that I'm hosting. Leaderboards will be out soon, probably after this Weekend of Madness concludes. Stay tuned. And the forum for as far as this goes will be on my social medias and of course in the comment section below. Some point during Wednesday afternoon after I get home from work. So please do more on that. And of course, I'm going to private message in our groups, the people know the queue and y'all as well. So we get Arlene's picks as well and those that couldn't be here. But I think that's all I got to say for now as this battleground of conversation comes to a close. So we will see you guys literally in a day or so, Thursday night live for City Predicting TNA Under Siege. But for now, I'm going to bid you all a fine adieu. And let's go ahead and leave the folks in usual fashion British game show farewells too. So for Chase U's new class, the Success Morris is trash. It's not a Dr. Seuss reference. It's just his thoughts. Emmanuel, please say goodbye.
Goodbye, and Atlanta Black, don't do it. Don't do OnlyFans. You're better than that. Just telling you.
Fucking hell, Emmanuel. For the Renegade of Wrestling, JJ Blims, his new dicks, the CEO of Casting Studios, and my friend forever in NXT and in wrestling and in life. Please say goodbye.
Good night, and Elena Black, please do OnlyFans.
Damn it, JJ! Come on, you're supposed to show some decorum.
Collab with Priscilla Kelly.
Oh, good Lord Almighty, that's too much, man.
Both of whom, by the way, will be making their debut in GCW coming in June.
Debut, or should I say return? Again, this is Elena Black we're talking about.
Fair enough. Fair
About to say, believe it or not, folks, there was a life for everybody in this business before WWE in wrestling. Anyway, and with that final thought and my rant from earlier, where I will stand on that mountain. Congratulations to Darby Allin, by the way, surviving and climbing Mount Everest. Now please get down safely. And for me, it is a simple goodbye, as well as we finally bid you folks a fine adieu. So, until Thursday night, where I incur even more madness with these folks and who knows who else, make a positive impact in life, and have a good night. And thank you for tuning in to Simply Predicting WWE NXT BattleGround. Have a good night, folks, and Joe Hendry, whoop that trick. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, my gosh. Freaking madness. Joe Henry for the win. I don't care what anyone tells me. Joe Henry deserves to still be the face of TNA. Trick Williams, you had your 15 minutes of fame last year, okay? Move to the side, man. Go and accept your spot in the undercard. Just saying. That's just my final thoughts. All right, I'm hitting the button. Do you stop that? You just stop that. And it wouldn't surprise me if she shows up somehow here. She has tensions with Jordan Grace, too, lest we forget. All right, I'm hitting the button. Great job, everybody. Thank you all again for tuning in.
Bye.
Did it non-copyright.